Hello, dear viewers, and welcome back to our channel, where we delve deep into the captivating world of royalty, uncovering the hidden narratives and significant moments that shape the British monarchy. Today, we embark on a truly fascinating journey, one that takes us behind the velvet ropes and into the quiet corridors of power, revealing a little-known, yet profoundly significant episode involving His Majesty King Charles III, then His Royal Highness Prince Charles. It's a tale of constitutional change, personal slight, and the delicate dance between the crown and the government, brought to light by a revealing new book. Before we unravel this intriguing story, which promises to shed new light on the character and challenges faced by our present monarch, do remember to show your support by liking this video. Your likes truly help our channel grow and reach more fellow enthusiasts of royal history. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell so you don't miss any of our forthcoming royal updates. We have so many more fascinating stories to share with you. Now, let's turn our attention to the latest literary sensation, shaking the foundations of royal commentary. Valentine Lowe's enthralling new book, aptly titled Power and the Palace. For those unfamiliar, Valentine Lowe is a highly respected royal correspondent, renowned for his meticulous reporting and his ability to unearth the nuanced realities of life within the royal household. His previous works have offered unparalleled insights, and Power and the Palace promises to be no exception, already making waves with its candid revelations. An excerpt from this highly anticipated volume, published in the esteemed pages of The Times on August 29th, has ignited particular interest. It details a period in 2013 when the then Prince Charles found himself in an unexpectedly precarious and rather uncomfortable position with the sitting government. The core of this unfolding drama revolved around a pivotal piece of legislation, the Succession to the Crown Act. This wasn't merely a minor amendment, it was a truly historic piece of lawmaking designed to fundamentally alter the ancient rules governing royal succession in the United Kingdom and across the Commonwealth realms. For centuries, the British monarchy adhered to the principle of male primogeniture, a tradition where a younger son would take precedence over an elder daughter in the line of succession. This deeply entrenched custom, a relic of bygone eras, was about to be swept away. The new law proposed a radical shift, prioritizing birth order over gender, meaning that the eldest child, regardless of whether they were male or female, would inherit the throne. This was a monumental change reflecting modern societal values and bringing the monarchy into the 21st century. The timing of these discussions was particularly poignant and personally resonant for Prince Charles. His eldest son, Prince William, and his beloved daughter-in-law, Catherine, the Duchess of Cambridge at the time, were joyfully expecting their first child. The anticipation of a new royal baby, the future heir to the throne, naturally brought the intricacies of succession vividly to the forefront of Charles's mind. He, more than anyone, understood the profound historical weight and the personal implications of these rules. The prospect of his first grandchild and the potential for a female heir made the details of this legislative overhaul intensely personal and deeply significant to him. It was against this backdrop of impending constitutional change and personal anticipation that an unusual event transpired in December 2012. Prince Charles, with characteristic foresight and a keen sense of his future responsibilities, extended an unexpected invitation. He asked Richard Heaton, a distinguished and high-ranking civil servant, to join him for tea. This was not a routine engagement. Such a direct, informal summons from the heir apparent to a senior government official suggested a matter of considerable importance, one that perhaps required a more private and candid discussion than might occur through official channels. Valentine Lowe's meticulous research, as recounted in Power and the Palace, vividly paints the scene and reveals the very specific concerns weighing upon the prince's mind during this private audience. Charles, ever the thoughtful and detail-oriented future monarch, posed a series of fundamental questions that went to the very heart of dynastic identity and constitutional precedent. His inquiries were not merely academic. They reflected a deep concern for the future stability and perception of the royal house. What, Charles earnestly wanted to know, would happen if his first grandchild were a girl and she married a Mr. Smith? Would the royal house be Smith or Windsor? This question, seemingly straightforward, was laden with historical and symbolic significance. The name Windsor itself was adopted by the royal family during World War I in 1917, replacing the German Saxe-Coburg and Gotha amidst anti-German sentiment. The continuity of the dynastic name is crucial for the monarchy's identity, its sense of tradition, and its connection to the nation's history. Charles was clearly contemplating the potential for a future monarch, a queen regnant, whose children might bear a different surname, and what that could mean for the ancient institution he was destined to lead. It was a forward-thinking query, anticipating the complexities of a modern royal lineage. Beyond the question of the family name, Charles had other pressing concerns regarding the law's broader implications. He also inquired about the scenario where his grandchild might choose to marry a Catholic. This was an exceptionally sensitive point, deeply rooted in centuries of British history and law. The Act of Settlement of 1701 explicitly barred Catholics, or those married to Catholics, from ascending the throne. While the new succession to the Crown Act aimed to remove the prohibition on marrying a Catholic, it did not change the rule that the monarch themselves must be a Protestant. Charles was evidently trying to understand the full scope of these reforms, and how they would interact with existing, deeply entrenched constitutional provisions. He was, in essence, probing the boundaries and potential unforeseen consequences of such a significant legal overhaul. Furthermore, the prince sought clarification on how this new law would affect hereditary peerages. Hereditary peerages, titles of nobility passed down through families, have their own complex rules of succession, often adhering to male primogeniture. If the rules for the crown were changing, what precedent would this set for the aristocracy, and how might it impact the fabric of the British establishment? These were not trivial questions. They demonstrated Charles's profound engagement with the constitutional implications of the proposed legislation, and his desire to understand every facet of its potential impact. Richard Heaton, the diligent civil servant, found himself in a challenging position. As Lowe's book notes, the specific area of royal succession and its more intricate implications wasn't directly within his primary domain of expertise. Nevertheless, he did his utmost to address the prince's detailed and probing questions, providing the best answers he could offer in that informal setting. It speaks volumes about Charles's character that he sought out such a direct conversation, and about Heaton's professionalism that he rose to the occasion, even when outside his immediate comfort zone. However, the Tea Party revelation was just the beginning of this unfolding drama. The truly astonishing detail unearthed by Valentine Lowe's research was the underlying reason for Charles's informal approach to Heaton. It turned out that government officials had been explicitly instructed to work directly with Buckingham Palace on the succession changes, but with a crucial and rather pointed caveat: they were to intentionally leave Prince Charles out of the discussions. The heir to the throne, the man whose life and future were most directly impacted by these profound changes, was deliberately being kept out of the loop. This deliberate exclusion is a detail that truly underscores the complexities and occasional tensions within the British establishment. Why would the government choose to sideline the future king on such a fundamental matter? It suggests a desire to control the narrative, to streamline the process, or perhaps even a subtle attempt to limit the influence of an heir who was known for his strong opinions and his willingness to voice them. For a man as deeply invested in the monarchy's future as Charles, being intentionally excluded from such vital deliberations must have been a deeply unsettling experience, perhaps even a perceived slight. The narrative, however, took another unexpected turn. Just a few weeks after the discreet tea between Prince Charles and Richard Heaton, a story emerged in the Daily Mail, a prominent national newspaper known for its extensive royal coverage. This article revealed that Prince Charles harbored significant concerns about the proposed changes to the succession law. Crucially, the report also highlighted that both he and his son, Prince William, appear not to have been consulted at all, a revelation that, as the article noted, rankled with the Prince of Wales, The use of the word rankled here is particularly telling, suggesting a deep-seated irritation and a sense of being unfairly treated or disrespected. It painted a picture of an heir who felt marginalized and unheard on a matter of immense personal and constitutional importance. The publication of this story, essentially a leak of private royal sentiment and governmental oversight, naturally triggered a strong reaction within government circles. Valentine Lowe's book goes on to explain the intense governmental response to this unauthorized disclosure. When the article appeared, Richard Heaton, the civil servant who had shared tea with Charles, was on vacation. Upon his return, understandably keen to understand the repercussions of the leak and the prince's apparent displeasure, he inquired about the situation. According to Lowe's account, the response Heaton received was stark and unambiguous. Haywood, presumably a senior government figure, delivered a terse summary of the prince's predicament. "He's in the doghouse." This colloquial phrase, understood by virtually everyone, succinctly conveyed that Prince Charles had fallen out of favor, was in trouble, and was facing considerable displeasure from those in power. It was a clear indication that the government viewed the leak and Charles's perceived involvement with extreme seriousness. Why, then, was Prince Charles so emphatically in the doghouse? Valentine Lowe's meticulously researched book offers not one, but 3 distinct reasons for the government's pronounced dissatisfaction, each revealing a different facet of the delicate constitutional balance between the crown and the elected government. Firstly, the government felt that Charles had misrepresented the conversation he had with Richard Heaton. This is a serious accusation. If Charles or someone on his behalf had twisted or selectively quoted Heaton's responses or the general tenor of their private discussion, it would be seen as a breach of trust and an attempt to manipulate public perception or governmental policy. Such an act would naturally lead to significant governmental ire, as it undermines the integrity of private consultations between the heir and civil servants. Secondly, and perhaps most critically, the government was incensed that Charles, or someone acting on his behalf, had leaked a private conversation with a civil servant to the press. In the world of government and royal relations, the sanctity of private discussions is paramount. Leaking such information is considered a cardinal sin, an egregious breach of protocol and trust. It undermines the ability of officials to speak candidly and confidentially with members of the royal family, and it can create an atmosphere of suspicion and distrust. The act of leaking, regardless of its motive, would have been seen as a direct challenge to the government's authority and a serious transgression against established norms. Thirdly, the government perceived Charles's actions as a criticism of government policy, which, under the unwritten rules of the British Constitution, he was not supposed to do. The monarch, and by extension the heir to the throne, is expected to remain politically neutral. While they can offer advice and guidance privately to the government, they are not to publicly express dissent or criticism of governmental policy. Such public criticism can be seen as an attempt to influence political decisions, which is strictly outside their constitutional remit. Charles's reported concerns, particularly when leaked to the press, could easily be interpreted as an improper intervention in the legislative process and a violation of the principle of royal impartiality. This constitutional impropriety would have deeply troubled those in power, viewing it as a dangerous precedent. Despite this palpable tension and the clear indication that Prince Charles was in governmental disfavor, the future king, with his innate diplomatic skills, seemed determined to smooth things over with Richard Heaton. In an understated but significant gesture, not long after this period of strain, Charles extended another invitation to Heaton. This time, it was for a trip on the royal train, an exclusive privilege, to visit a pottery supported by one of Charles's many charities. This was a masterful stroke of reconciliation. As Valentine Lowe aptly observes, it wasn't an apology, but it was the next best thing. In the nuanced world of royal protocol and high-level government relations, a direct apology might have been deemed inappropriate or even unnecessary, especially if Charles felt he had done nothing wrong. However, an invitation to join the prince on a royal engagement, a gesture of personal inclusion and shared purpose, spoke volumes. It was a quiet affirmation of respect, an olive branch extended, and a clear signal that any personal animosity between them was to be set aside. It demonstrated Charles's ability to mend fences and to maintain crucial relationships, even after periods of intense disagreement. It underscored his understanding of the subtle art of diplomacy and his commitment to the long-term functioning of the institutions he would one day lead. Ultimately, the succession to the Crown Act of 2013 came into full effect, marking a profound and enduring change to the British monarchy. This historic legislation ensured that all royals born after October 28, 2011, would be placed in the line of succession based purely on birth order, regardless of their gender. This meant that the archaic system of male primogeniture, which had governed royal succession for centuries, was finally consigned to the history books. The tangible impact of this groundbreaking reform was vividly demonstrated just a few years later. When Princess Charlotte, the second child of Prince William and Catherine, was born in 2015, she made history. And then, when her younger brother, Prince Louis, arrived in 2018, Princess Charlotte retained her place in the line of succession, ahead of her younger male sibling. Under the old rules, Louis would have automatically leapfrogged Charlotte. But thanks to the succession to the Crown Act of 2013, Charlotte's position remained secure, a clear and undeniable testament to this modernizing shift in royal law. This event, witnessed by millions around the world, truly cemented the legacy of the Act and the progress it represented for gender equality within the royal family. So, as we reflect on this fascinating chapter, revealed by Valentine Lowe's Power and the Palace, we gain a deeper appreciation for the intricate dynamics at play within the British establishment. This isn't just a story about a legal amendment. It's a window into the challenges faced by a future monarch, the delicate balance of power between the crown and the government, and the personal convictions that drive those at the very pinnacle of public life. It reminds us that even within the seemingly immutable traditions of royalty, there are moments of tension, personal slight, and quiet diplomacy that shape the course of history. What are your thoughts on this revealing insight into King Charles III's past? Do you believe the government was right to keep him out of the loop? Or should the heir apparent always be fully consulted on matters of succession? Share your opinions in the comments section below. We always appreciate hearing from our thoughtful and knowledgeable community. Thank you for watching this deep dive into royal history. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel for more exclusive content, and make sure to hit that notification bell so you're always informed when we publish our next royal update. We look forward to seeing you again soon for another captivating journey into the world of kings, queens, and their timeless stories.